hiking with Henry Golding, messaged me saying that he's a subscriber. He loves the videos. And I'm like, let's go hiking. So we met up in Yosemite. We hiked Half Dome and we hung out for the first time, which can be a little awkward if you go hiking with someone that you don't know. He was a great guy, but I'd like to do that more. I think that's a great format for getting more value out of a trip because I could have just gone to Yosemite and hiked, but hiking with a movie star is a bit more interesting for viewers, but also fun for me.
Hi, and welcome to The Road to Revenue. I'm Lee, your host. This is the podcast where we talk to creators to understand the bumps in the road, the twists, the turns on their particular road to revenue. Joining me today, I have Craig Adams. Welcome, Craig.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excellent. Really appreciate you joining us today. Would you be able to take us through a little bit around the content that you create?
Yeah, my bio on my Linktree and the about page of my YouTube, like it's funny, like what do you have on your bio for Instagram and stuff? I'm a hiker, traveler, filmmaker, and minimalist. That's the bio. But yeah, I'm really
before
like a
you
YouTuber.
go further though, which one of those is first?
I would say filmmaker first. I definitely shoot photo videos. I'm a photographer as well, but I've been making videos full time for my own channel for a while now, and been making videos for other people, clients before that. And yeah, video.
Can you talk to us about the content you create and where your current output is?
Yeah, I am posting mainly on YouTube just because that's probably where I consume the most. I just feel comfortable posting where I understand. I'm a very, very much so a YouTube person. Yeah, don't watch TV. I don't consume TikTok as much, Instagram not as much. So I'm very much a YouTuber. I like making hiking films, travel films, and posting that to YouTube in long form. But I also have an Instagram, TikTok. Yeah.
And recently I think you've uploaded your New Zealand, some New Zealand footage, wasn't it? That was incredibly. I do want to say epic, but also very chilled.
Yeah.
Would you say that's representative of your approach, your signature to your content?
Yeah, chill is a word that people would describe my videos as. I guess when you compare the types of videos that I make, hiking videos, to other people, they're more chill. There's a million different ways you could shoot any activity, but when I go out to hike, I'm usually by myself, a bit melancholy, a bit chill, a bit quiet. I set up a tripod, walk by, come back, get the tripod, so it's all static. It's more relaxing than other videos in the genre, I would say. And New Zealand definitely was a chill place that deserves some chill videos.
What got you into YouTube? How'd you start?
Well, I started making videos just for fun, just to make people laugh back in high school. And this was kind of making parody videos, a lot of comedy. And then I got serious about becoming a filmmaker by going to college in Buffalo, New York, to become a film student in their television film arts program. That was okay, but I just liked making videos, so we did that outside of class. That was way more fun. Then I started shooting weddings, got paid to do that, used that money to invest back into the business, started a YouTube channel teaching people how to shoot weddings. That became bigger than the wedding video business, and then I started traveling and making videos about that.
Right. And how has your filmmaking changed over that time?
So much. It's always just been a reflection of who I am as a person. So as I become more confident in sharing what I want to share, how I want to share, that's been reflected in the videos over the years first, I guess. And then, yeah, it literally changes because I shoot what I'm interested in. And that has shifted from weddings to vlogs in New York City to hiking and travel. So many changes.
And your sorry, how long have you had your channel going in the current format, focused on the hiking and on traveling?
Yeah, this era is kind of new. The hiking, silent, chill aspect has been the last 4 years. Before that, there was probably a 2-year phase of daily vlogs, Casey Neistat ripoffs. And then before that, there was probably 4 years of YouTube. Before that was, college and young shenanigans. So probably like 3 or 4 different eras of, I guess, content as well as audience. The audience has shifted over the years. Some have stayed. There's a weird small group of people who have stayed through the entire thing. Like there's some like wedding filmmakers who still watch my hiking videos and are like, I remember when you're shooting wedding videos. Yeah.
How do you nurture that audience?
That has also shifted over the years. I guess when I started, I said yes to everything, as far as going on a trip, shooting any video that popped into my mind, just doing anything to get the attention of people, shooting what I think they would want, latching onto trends, maybe like Snapchat spectacles came out, the little camera glasses. So it's like, let's make a vlog trying to find those. Everything I did, every trip I went on, to Thailand, to Peru, I'm just going to make a video about that experience, just to try to, always be working and tying my passions. And it's all been in service of just trying to entertain or add value to my audience in some way. And there's a big balance between like doing what I want and doing what they want. And sometimes there's, overlap, and that's wonderful. But, for every random vlog that I shoot, because it's like a home movie, memories that I want to preserve, it's good to make a gear review video that like specifically boils down a lot of research and thinking into a concise video essay that it helps solve someone's problem, whether that's gear or where should I go hike. I'll make a video about what people should eat when they're hiking. Sometimes the value is way more specific and educational. And then sometimes my videos are just documenting like things that I think are cool.
And how do they fare then in terms of that variety of content? How do you find that resonates with people?
Yeah, it's everything's all about balance. So it's like you could go full artist and just make whatever you want and not even look at the view count, not look at the feedback and not care. Or you could go full product, where you're producing a product with an audience in mind and you're trying to maximize the efficiency of satisfying that client. And all creators have to choose somewhere between the spectrum. And sometimes, if a creator feels like they need to make more money, they might shift more towards making a product, and their work feels like work. You might not be doing things that you want to do, but it'll get views, that it'll make money. And then sometimes you feel like you have enough money, so then you can shift over to making what is truly your passion. But like I said, the more that you can find synergy between those two worlds, satisfying those two different audiences of you and everyone else, the better.
How much of that is up front or ahead of producing content for you, or how much of it is reflective?
Dude, I'm always in my head. I call what I have, I say I have like mini podcast sessions with my wife every time we eat, or I just like spill and rant all of my constant thoughts, and then she'll reflect on patterns to me and make me recognize like I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about getting rid of this thing, or I want to start doing this, or like I saw my favorite creator doing this, so then I want to start doing this more. And like I should post more, I should create more, and then I'll go into a phase where I'm like, oh, I should be quiet more. I'm like posting too much. So I'm constantly reflecting on the efficiency of this entire process. Like I am battling being the content producer, the face in front of the camera, but then also the studio executive in charge of this tiny studio, choosing what to distribute and why and how. So it's maddening.
And minimalism is important to you, right? So I can see where being a minimalist, but actually having maximal opportunities to produce content must almost be at war with each other.
Yeah, there's always so much more that we could do with our day, and choosing what to do is more so what I would define as minimalism. Just being efficient. I guess efficiency is like a better word. Minimalism has like a rap of just being like almost like a monk with few items and kind of being like that. But yeah, when it comes to content and choosing where I put my time and attention, that's kind of what I call minimalism. Just not obsessing over it, but just being conscious of the choices and my ability to design my environment in a way that pushes me towards the good and away from the bad.
And so you produce content specifically for you, for your channel, but you also mentioned you still do client work. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a weird mix of client sponsorship work that I do for other brands. Sometimes it's just producing social media-esque content for them and their channels, but more so than not, it involves me sharing that ad with my audience. So it's a mix of everything.
Okay. Do you find that helps to balance to give you the freedom to shoot what you want to shoot?
Yeah, this is a huge struggle because on one hand, I want to do what I want to do. So why would I work for Nike or North Face or Strava and do work for them as a freelancer? But if I do work for them and they pay me a bunch of money, that gives me runway to do what I want to do. So it's a back and forth, But if I do all of the work to make all of the money and feel like, I'm too busy and I'm burnt out, then, what's the point? I'm not happy. So it's like a weird balance of doing something I like and then doing something that they want so that I can get more runway to do what I want.
Right. And that balance, right? Like you mentioned that, I think that's ideal, isn't it? Achieving that, whether we say life balance, work-life balance, whatever it is, right? But achieving balance, I think that makes a lot of sense in how you're using your opportunities that you've got. With that, then, how does revenue play into your decision making? And I mean, this is called the Road to Revenue podcast for, because we want to understand people's journeys. Like, how has your journey and revenue intersected, and how has one influenced the other?
Yeah, I have worked relentlessly just to get people's attention first and foremost, and then slowly a trickle of money started to come in, and then eventually I was able to pay off all of my debts, and then that was just a new era of like saving and feeling like I was above water and not treading water. And now at this point, after doing YouTube for a number of years full time, treating it like a business, like my YouTube channel has 700,000 subscribers, and I have a template for a format that works, that brands will put sponsorships on. So there's a bunch of different revenue streams coming in, and it was intentional to diversify those streams. So there's Amazon affiliate, there's third-party affiliate, there's sponsorship work on my channel, which tiptoes in and out of what I would call freelance for my channel. And then there's just the YouTube paycheck that comes in with the AdSense on the YouTube videos. So it all stems from me making content and videos. So I still have to do that. it's kind of automated in the sense that it just happens. There's a royalty aspect of it, of money coming in from my backlog. So it's like it's a delayed payment for value that I'm adding up front. So at the end of the day, it's just I do work, I get paid. Having that diversification is good.
At what point did you decide to diversify? Like, was that always in your plan, in your idea? Like, was that always part of the plan?
It happens slowly and naturally. The idea of that you could make a commission off of the influence on someone's purchase was an aha moment. I still remember the conversation with Conrad in Brooklyn. We were having coffee and he's like, Amazon has an affiliate program, right? I'm like, oh man. So I'd been doing videos and talking about gear. I was a camera person, a drone person, a microphone person. So I would recommend that stuff to people in comments and emails. And then once I started getting the same question, like, what camera do you use? What camera do you use? What camera do you use? I'd make a video just about that, solving that, automating that, customer support for my own audience. And then once I realized that you could make 2, 3, 4% off of every time someone buys a Sony camera, that was a big aha moment. And then then that just started happening more and more. And I remember being in Puerto Rico on a small trip during the winter because it's very cold in New York and you got to get away sometimes. The monthly income for Amazon that month was like $6,000. And I remember that's way more than rent. That's like great money. Like I could and I'm not even paying attention full time to YouTube. Like I could just make YouTube videos and link and push people to Amazon purchases and make a full-time income. So I don't know if that's answering the question. I just remember that moment.
I know. I think it does. I mean, it's that aha moment is so important because that kind of paves the way. At what point then did you start adding in other streams, or was Amazon affiliate and kind of an afterthought stream where the other one's already in place?
Yeah, the affiliate links was pretty permissionless. Once you get into the program or once you start making the upfront, you just have to do some work to link and create that structure, and then it kind of operates on its own. I would put links in descriptions of videos, but then I also started making gear grids and gear lists on websites so people could go to a single place to see all of the gear that I'm currently using. That was a big thing. And then, of course, making annual gear videos is kind of what I do right now. I think I just made one a month ago. Yeah. And
is your gear changing over that year, or are you finding just refreshing it is important for the seasonality of it, or is it important for how your gear has changed and evolved?
Yeah, two different roads you could go down. Do you just be honest and talk about the gear that you use, or do you go out of your way to try to switch up the gear to for some reason? I think it's personally silly to do that. I just speak truth and just share the gear that I use.
So I've got to ask then, what's one of your favorite pieces of gear that you love talking about?
Yeah, being a hiker, I'm always worried about water. And there's a water bladder with a filter on top that solves so many of my problems. The Be Free Katadyn. You just walk up to any old water, stream, fill it, screw it on, and you can be on your way and drink filtered water out in nature. And it gives me peace of mind. It's simple. It works. It doesn't really break. You change the filter every so often, but man, that solves so many problems for me. And it's definitely one of the highest performing or sold items on my Genius Link analytics, just the number of clicks it gets. And then also, looking into the Amazon dashboard, you can see the amount of commission you earn from individual items. So I like it. My audience likes it. It solves all of our problems.
It does. So I've totally fallen into my own trap. I'm definitely going to be having a look after this, because it does sound like a really simply elegant solution.
It's good for airports. It's good for hiking. Yeah, it's like way better than those Stanley Cups. It's way better. Like it's definitely like the nerdy version of it, but I like it.
I love that. I love that. So going a little bit down the gear route again, there was like, what's one of the pieces of gear that you had for way longer than you probably should have, but you're not going to get rid of it?
Yeah. I found an Amazon Sun hoodie, just like a long sleeve shirt that has thumb holes and a hood. Very thin material that protects you from the sun, gives you a little bit of warmth, protection from the wind when you're hiking. And this was like an Amazon Basics. So the cheapest of the cheap. And I started using it, and now it's become like my uniform. So when I go on a hike or a trip, like that's kind of just what people expect me to be wearing. And yeah, that's been there since day one. But now I'm developing my own, so we'll see. We'll see if that changes.
I love it. We're absolutely at the forefront of a product release.
Yeah, my merch should be just like, what I wear, the perfect version of like what I would like to be wearing. So I feel like that should be the first thing that I release ever. So
that's brilliant. So it I guess I'm picking up a common theme of refinement along everything that you have been talking about now, with your approach to your videos, to what you've been doing. How has that impacted your workflows?
The refinement, it just makes me it's kind of madness to always be a little bit worrying about it. It's like this uncomfortable valley where you're not like totally happy with everything, but you're not complacent. And I think that uncomfortable friction is where it's the best place to be, because you're still growing. Like growth is uncomfortable, and me kind of not second guessing, but just always thinking, what's just a slightly better way of doing this? Like questioning why things happen. I think it's a good mindset to be in, but I can see where it could be unhealthy if you do it too much or too little, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's balance coming back again, isn't it? With that, then, how do you find that balance? How do you find that sweet spot where it's just enough?
Yeah. Just analysis on all of the choices that you make. It's all risk assessment. You just have to remember, like, the more that you remember what it felt like when you made a mistake, what it felt like when you made a success, and then thinking backwards, like being able to, fully understand the line of points that got you to any point, is super, like, because doing the same thing and not understanding why it happened over and over again is like the definition of madness. So for me, an example would be like if I go on a big trip to New Zealand and I have this expectation of the videos I'm going to shoot, and then I execute all of it, and I come back and I feel like I missed something, or, I'm unhappy in some way. Like, have I had that feeling during other trips? And like, what was it better that I had people with me? Was I more happy when I was alone? So going forward, like, does it make sense to just sometimes just try to go travel, hike alone or with another person? Like, all of these questions, it's good to just second guess yourself to a healthy amount.
How much of that comes out in your content?
You could never share this, or you could overshare. It's like, back to the balance again. That's why I don't like to prescribe what people should do, because there is a huge spectrum of like possibilities. And then whatever I am, it has shifted during the different eras and different week to week, honestly, of like what I do. So I personally like to share my process. I think giving away the secrets and sharing my struggles has been one of the reasons for my success. I think my core audience follows me because of my journey doing what I'm doing, more so than anything I'm up to, hiking, filmmaking, whatever. Like, that doesn't matter as much as the true story underlining all of it. It's like trying to be a full-time creator, trying to do all of this content stuff the right way. Like, what does the right way even look? And like, what does it look like in 5 years? What did it look like 5 years ago? I think that journey is more interesting to the core subscribers. So I like to share that in solo rants on my podcast. So I give myself like a half an hour time where I can just go through my notes that I type up to myself every month and then just spill. I talk about the videos that I just posted that since the last podcast, what worked, what didn't, what I'm working on now, my expectations in the future. So it's kind of like an all hands for the Craig Adams business, and my employees that I'm speaking to are my audience. So that's how I picture. I should have a PowerPoint. I should have a PowerPoint.
It feels like it might not be quite on brand if you just went with death by PowerPoint. But I love
with Comic Sans and like images. It would be good though.
And text, it's much too small, so it's completely illegible.
And I should show up with like, I don't know. I just watched Dumb Money with the Roaring Kitties. I don't know if you watched that movie.
No,
I want to wear like a red headband. The guy wears a red headband when he goes live.
I will be looking forward, and you have my full support. I think you should red headband all the way. So with those, and it's interesting hearing you talk about sharing your process. Is like, is there? You've obviously identified habits or processes and things that you've not done. Were there some that you hung on to for much longer than? Maybe it was a habit or a piece of your workflow that you hung on to for longer than you should have, that actually you identified that actually getting rid of that or moving on or changing it was quite a significant step change.
So points in my process that I incorrectly held on to, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the flip side of that are like things that I feel like I've been sleeping on that I've started doing that I think are wins. I guess title and thumbnail, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I've realized that I thought it was just all about subscribers and just satisfying those people. And I kind of disregarded the algorithm and people who didn't know me in general abroad. But seeing the success of TikTok and algorithm fed videos and seeing how that actually exists in YouTube, and why I should be thinking in terms of someone who's never seen my videos, who doesn't know who I am, what is their experience of when they see my thumbnail and video pop up as a suggestion alongside whatever they're looking and deciding to watch on YouTube. Thinking in terms of that person has been something that I've been sleeping on for sure. And because it's like your subscribers kind of come regardless. They will watch because they're already invested. So acquiring new users should be a focus, I think.
Yeah, no, that's it. And that's a really, I think it's probably one of the, everyone can always improve titles, right? And thumbnails. But yeah, it's interesting when you talk about the amount of focus that by serving your subscribers, by serving your audience who already knows you, you almost don't need to serve them with the title, serve them with the thumbnail, because you're serving them with the body of content.
Yeah. It's less important about the title and thumbnail and more important about just satisfying their expectation of the content inside the video. And like that's true for a new user as well, but it's also super important for them to just click in the first place. So, putting your audience into different buckets, but also is something I've already done, but what I was disregarding was the side bucket, the big huge bucket of people who don't know me at all, I guess.
Yeah. Right. So outside of you, and there's a lot of advice, right? There's a lot of advice out there, and a lot of practices that people talk about. What are some of the myths that you maybe followed or you hear that just won't seem to go away, or some of that advice that you think that's going in the wrong direction?
The first thing that just pops into my mind, yeah, this is a hard question, but the first thing I should just mention, people who focus on money too early. I mentioned it previously. For the first couple of years, I was just working really hard to get people's attention and to find my voice. And I think that should be the first bootstrap to thinking about money. And I think when you start thinking about money before you find your footing, it can kind of delay your growth in a sense. I always kind of let the inbound clients and sponsorships come to me. And like I mentioned, affiliate was just a good on-ramp to thinking about money because it only added to the content that I was already producing. So I could make videos that I wanted to make, but then also additionally just do a little bit of research of knowing what gear to use, and then a little bit of work to link up, what is my full gear kit, with the videos. So focus on creating the content, finding your voice, and then thinking about monetization. But affiliate linking and earning commissions off of that influence is a good starter.
Past 12 months have been super noisy around AI. So I feel I need to ask, have you integrated AI at all into your workflows? And if so, how have you done that?
I have not. I have looked at some of it, probably not enough. Where I think it would be most interesting to me is to solve the problem of music. I'm not a musician, but I know exactly what I want. Ambient, drone, cinematic, minimal, in and out music. I just know so much, like I know specifically what I want so much, but I just can't make it. So I've gone down the rabbit hole of looking for AI music generators where you could kind of write out what you're looking for, and it'll try to make something like that. I've also looked at AI tools that let you take a sample, ingest it, and then they either change it or create something based off of that, and then you can tweak it a little bit. It's getting there. It's going to be a good way of making music, generative music, soon, but it's not quite. But I'm definitely I'm the perfect customer for that. I would pay for it, and I would put in more effort and time into tweaking it, because that's the thing I've learned about AI. Like, you can't just get it. You have to be good at getting it. You have to massage the answer out of AI, or, if you're generating images or anything, like, it pays to know exactly what you want, but then also understand the tool so that you can get a better product.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back a little bit to the gear, right? Like it is just another piece of equipment, another tool in your tool set. You can hand someone a really top level camera, doesn't make them a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's new, powerful tools, and it'll be easier for some people to use than others. Like myself, it's very difficult to automate using labor. Like, I'm so bad at managing and hiring people, so I don't do it. I work alone. So I, more so than other people, would put a lot of time and effort into researching and getting automation and just easier workflow out of AI tools, because I can just speak to computers better and work with tools better than, I could hire a musician to create original scores for my music, but that would require so much communication and expectations, and it would be easier for me to work with an AI tool.
And I think you're right. It's going to evolve, hopefully, to such a point that you'll be able to use that.
And it's for everything. It's video editing, music generation, the shorts, taking a piece of content and then breaking it up, especially for podcasts with subtitles, and latching into, what the hook of the video is to capture people within the first second. A lot of that's being automated with AI tools in great ways. So yeah, it's here. It's getting better, and it'll seep into different, different categories more and more. But for video and photo, music, yeah, it's already here.
So what else, other than the AI side, what else over the next 12, and not necessarily technology-wise, but over the next 12 months, what is it that you're most excited for, or most looking forward to, and focused on?
First thing that comes to my mind is negotiation during brand deals. So gone are the days of me just not caring. I would much rather work with 3 big brands each year and do larger campaigns that matter, and take on more risk, do more research, and have more empathy to, what success looks like for them. So tying our success together to get, bigger, better campaigns if I do any sponsored work. And then just being smarter about how I choose my time. I'm getting older. I've got a family, and it's getting harder and harder to go on a big grand trip to Nepal or something. So if I do go, how can I get more value out of each trip? Does that mean more videos, or does that mean better videos? How can I hedge my bets in, spending the money to go fly to a place for X number of days is a big bet. I could go there and it could be a bad video and I could not have a fun time. It's a big waste of time. So how can I hedge my bets more? And that's research. That's working with other creators and influencers to tie our goals together. That's being smarter about how I say no to brands. And then when I do say yes to the 3 that I want to work with, putting in a lot more effort into making it worth both of our times.
You mentioned collaboration. Is that something that you have done previously? Are you looking to do more of that?
Yeah, it's always been just whatever. I've worked with some other creator friends, and it's been fun. But the first time that I kind of set out with a goal was last year, hiking with Henry Golding, who's an actor from Crazy Rich Asians. He's a Hollywood guy. So he messaged me saying that he's a subscriber. He loves the videos. And I'm like, let's go hiking. So we met up in Yosemite. We hiked Half Dome, and we hung out for the first time, which can be a little awkward if you go hiking with someone that you don't know, especially like making a video. But he was a great guy, and he knows my videos, so it worked out. But I'd like to do that more. I think that's a great format for getting more value out of a trip, because I could have just gone to Yosemite and hiked, but hiking with a movie star is a bit more interesting for viewers, but also fun for me. So how can I do that with other people who have expressed interest in doing something like that? And then also, how can I incentivize someone who doesn't initially have interest to do that? So like, how can I get someone like, a musician or a movie star to go do another hike somewhere? So I think this year I have more of a focus on like big YouTubers and Instagram people and TikTokers that I've already chatted with, and trying to put my mind in theirs, like, because it's a lot to go hiking. If you haven't been hiking, there's like, what gear do I have? Like, it's a risk for them. Like, are they going to have fun? Is it going to be hot, cold? Yeah. So just more time and attention into like setting expectations, and it's like the one for me, one for them mentality. It's like what I already mentioned. I think that was a big aha moment that has trickled down into, helping me make better decisions, make a bunch of money, working really hard for something that I don't really like as much, so that I have runway to do something, and don't just do one side, like go back and forth. And my mind, I like to work rest and sprint. So it works for me to like go back and forth between those two things, to take breaks. It's hard to prescribe because I just know I can't tell people what to do. But for me, I felt a pressure to just always be productive, like to always run an 8-minute mile. But for me, what works well is if I walk and then I run a little bit, like sprint and then walk and then sprint. So, yeah.
Do you know, I think it's probably good advice on a hike as well, really.
Yep.
Weather
Sprint.
dependent.
I like to sprint down the mountain and walk up the mountain.
Yeah. So you have been an incredibly generous guest, and I really appreciate you spending some time with us to share your own road to revenue. One thing I do want to know is, how is the best way for people to find you? Where can they connect with you, and what would you like them to go and check out?
Yeah, searching Craig Adams on Google will bring up all of the things. Craig with a K. I was fortunate to have my first name Kraig. Things would have been different if it was Craig, which is more common.
It's incredible foresight.
Yeah, my parents just knocked it out of the park with that one. But yeah, YouTube will probably be the biggest gravity well for people interested in my stuff. That's where I'm putting the most time and attention. So judge me there. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me.
You've been an absolute delight. Thank you so much.